Hi, my name is Dean Ayala, and I'm a game designer on Hearthstone.
So, Dean, what's it been like seeing this game evolve since you were brought on at Next Ramus?
Oh man, watching all of the players really adapt to every set that we release, and we're playtesting all of these cards, and we have sort of an idea of like, oh, we think these decks are going to be powerful. This is how the metagame's going to shift, and we have to make some amount of predictions, but we're never able to predict exactly what's going to happen, what millions of players are going to do. So I think seeing you create something and you're playtesting over time and you're trying to make some amount of prediction and then seeing it actually go live and seeing all these players try to figure out what's going on. I'm really excited to figure out or to find out really like what is the best version of the Kazakus deck. I think that when Reno Jackson came out, like a lot of different classes are really trying to experiment. Like, what is the best version of this deck? It's something that we haven't really done before. And I think that we'll sort of re-go through that with Kazakus, where everyone will be trying to figure out what the best thing is. Like, I have an awesome Kazakus mage deck that I think is really powerful, but what are players going to figure out? So it's fun.
What's it been like seeing the game evolve as an esport?
Seeing it evolve as an esport has been amazing. Everything is like grown and grown. The stage we have at BlizzCon is amazing. Watch all of these players compete over the course of the year in the tournaments and on ladder. You know, they're playing thousands of games. They're getting better and better. Watching Firebat the first year, watching Uskaka the second year, and who knows who's going to win this year. I think maybe Jason Zhao is where I'm rooting for him. But everything is just bigger and grander, and all the players are so much better now. The formats are sort of like changing back and forth, and we're trying to figure out like what is the best version of Hearthstone for esports. I think like next year we're making a bunch of changes as opposed to what we did this year, and the game is still relatively young, so we're trying to change and find the best format for us.
So, balance is probably a topic that comes up in the office a lot, and you guys are adding so many new cards, and you have to go back to different sets and be like, okay, let's see what cards work with which cards. Talk about that process of balancing the game and making sure all the cards aren't overpowered with working with other cards or underpowered and add something new at the same time.
Well, I think that it's funny. Like a lot of people I talk to, there's a sort of a misconception that well, we make 100 cards and then we have this simulator and then we run all the cards to the simulator. Like, well, the simulator says it's balanced. So like, well, it really comes from a bunch of playtesting and a lot of the balance designers. We're all very passionate about Hearthstone, and we were before we started on Hearthstone too. So I mean, we're playing thousands of games. We're playing on the ladder. We're talking to a lot of the pro players. We're talking on social media, and we're reading Reddit every day. Like, so I think that balance has to come from somebody who is very passionate about the game and is playing at work and understands like what's going on and playing outside of work as well. So I think really being able to monitor what's happening and playing all of these decks and knowing how they feel, as opposed to, because I mean we can look at the win rate of this deck is 54%, so let's make this change or not make this change. And that part, I mean, that sounds easy to do, but really it's about how does this deck feel to play against? Like how much different is the experience on ladder? Like it's much more important to me that people are queuing into ladder and have a wide, varied experience than it is that every single class is 50%. Like in general, in the last year and a half, 2 years, anything that has gotten from our perspective out of control, we go in and address. So I'm not worried about being able to make changes. So it's really important for us to like being able to make changes is very important, just because we want the new set to be exciting. We need the new cards to be powerful and like mix it up.
And fun to play.
Yeah, exactly. So we need to be able to push the boundaries and push the absolute limits. And sometimes a card may get pushed over the edge, but we've shown in the past that we're willing to address those things. So we're still pushing.
So can you talk about like from the process when you recognize a card, needs to be changed, whether it's buff or nerfed or whatever, and how long it takes to implement that change, as well as the kind of the behind the scenes of it going through that change?
Well, it doesn't actually take long once we make the decision. Getting to the decision is the longer part, mainly because it's important for us to let players sort of figure it out. I mean, even if something is extremely strong, say if Mean Streets of Gadgetzan releases, because Kazakus is the strongest card we've ever made statistically, and everyone is saying that it's still pretty unlikely that we would make a change right away, because it's important that when you get a pack of cards and you find something that is strong and you're playing a strategy that is strong, or even more important than that, I don't have all the cards and I see the strategy online or I watch my friend do it and I'm slowly building a deck so I can eventually do this awesome thing, and then something just snap changes. Like that doesn't feel super awesome, and it's important for the metagame to shift sort of on its own. Like players should feel like the answer to this problem is I go to my collection and I'm figuring it out, versus the answer to the solution is Blizzard will just change it pretty soon. So I think waiting for players to figure out is most of, if there's any reason why like we think something might be a problem but we wait to change it, is because it's important to let players figure it out. There's examples of that in the past where a lot of people were playing Mech Mage, and Mech Mage is extremely powerful. And then all of a sudden, players started building a lot of decks that were strong against Mech Mage and sort of shifted out on its own. And that, I think that like the natural progression of that is the most ideal way to do things. But once we come to a decision, like, okay, we are going to do this, we'll write a blog or something and then figure out some patch to put it in. And it's usually like a week process, even if that.
And what's your favorite card in Mean Streets of Gadgetzan so far?
Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, my favorite card is probably Patches. We've been trying to get Patches in a set since Blackrock Mountain, if I remember right. So a very, very long time now. I keep putting in sets. Actually, a lot of the designers still make fun of me because that was my favorite card in Blackrock Mountain. And then I got sick, in one of the last weeks of development. And I came back, they're like, oh yeah, we cut that card for, X, Y, or Z reason. I was like, no. And then every time I keep trying to come back, it's like, hey, it's in the set. Like, yeah, it's not really. It doesn't fit for this set. It doesn't fit for this set. And then Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, it's a port town. There's pirates. It makes sense. And so I think we're finally able to do it, especially like in the timing window where, Gang Up is still there and you're still able to do the thing where you can put like 6 of them in your deck and bring them all out. So, it's a really fun deck to play. So I don't know what the best version is. So that'll be one of the things that I'm looking forward to in terms of players sort of figuring out whatever the best version of that. Maybe is it the best version of a deck where you have 4 pirates, or is it 16 pirates, or is it, where is that? What class is that deck?
So, and because I have to ask, because the community will want to know, the most, not overpowered, but the most strongest deck in the current meta before Mean Streets of Gadgetzan?
The strongest deck, I think it was like just mid-range Shaman. I think there's a lot of different types of Shaman decks. Like at the very, very top level, Control Warrior is extremely popular and also extremely good. And against Shaman, Freeze Mage is extremely powerful as well. So I think more Freeze Mage and more Control Warrior are starting to get played because of the popularity of Shaman. I think for Mean Streets, I honestly don't know what is the most powerful thing. I think Warlock is really awesome. A lot of people played Reno Lock before, and now Reno Lock has Kazakis and a bunch more tools that will get revealed over the next couple weeks. So I'm excited for that. I think a lot of things are going to shake up, and I don't think anyone's really going to know what the most powerful deck is when Mean Streets releases.
And when does Mean Streets of Gadgetzan release?
Mean Streets of Gadgetzan releases in early December.